Andrew Weissman, seditious conspiracy was really the most challenging to prove. There's certainly, according to our own reporting at the time, after that debate comment by the president at the time, there was a big increase in online activity, recruitment by the Proud Boys, and online conversation by these right-wing groups.
Absolutely. So there is a huge domestic terrorism problem in this country, as the Department of Justice and the FBI understand. That is one of the reasons, as was just noted, this is such an important victory for not just the Justice Department, but for all of us to combat the idea that you can not just voice your opinions, but you can do so through violence. This is now the 14th conviction of the most serious charge, seditious conspiracy, where we had 9 convictions with respect to Oath Keepers. We now have had 5 convictions with respect to the Proud Boys. I do think it amps the pressure up on Jack Smith, because so far the leader, the person who caused all of this to take place, has not yet been charged. And so the question of should there be charges against the former president becomes one that I think answers itself when you see people, lower level people, such as people who are just convicted, being brought to justice, but you don't see the leader yet brought to justice. So you can be sure that the Department of Justice feels that pressure today.
Glenn Kirshner, weigh in here on just the importance of this for the prosecutors as they go after the roots of the causes and the perpetrators of January 6th.
Yeah, Andrea, it's an important win for the prosecutors, for the Department of Justice, but really more importantly for the American people and for our democracy. I mean, DOJ has made it clear that, you know, if you undertake to overthrow our government by force or violence, DOJ will pull out all the stops. They will investigate. They will indict. They will try you, even in what are some forward-leaning charges, seditious conspiracy charges, which our federal prosecutors don't often bring. Now, 4 of the 5 defendants were convicted on that lead count. That lead count carries up to 20 years in prison. So based on Ryan's reporting, it seems like the offenses of conviction thus far, recognizing the jury is still deliberating on some outstanding charges, would subject 4 of the 5 to 50 years in prison as a statutory max, and 1 of the 5, Dominic Pezzola, he's exposed at the moment to 30 years in prison. But what I find really interesting is the jury has not yet resolved the seditious conspiracy charge against Dominic Pezzola. That actually shows that the jury is very diligent and very attentive, because, as Ryan said, Dominic Pezzola was kind of a Johnny-come-lately, I guess a Dominic-come-lately to the conspiracy party. He joined very late. He didn't necessarily do everything the other co-conspirators did that made it clear they were members of a conspiracy. So, boy, I have to give this jury credit for being really thoughtful in the way they're going about returning these verdicts.
And the former chief of Homeland Security and Intelligence for the District of Columbia, Donell Harvin. Donell, you've been critical of the law enforcement not communicating adequately, having had plenty of warnings if they had really been talking to each other and looking at what we were all seeing online in the public space. But now we see, at least the prosecution, the Justice Department, with a big victory against these accused conspirators.
Yeah, Andrea, it's a great day, great victory for prosecutors. But I would submit, as some of your other guests have talked about, the Proud Boys were the foot soldiers of January 6th. Those who led this entire endeavor have yet to be brought to court. The Proud Boys were operational. We saw them online communicating with other groups like the Oath Keepers. But were it not for the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, January 6th is a conspiracy theory and a very large, very loud, raucous demonstration. And so these individuals were really key into the planning and penetration of the Capitol. But they didn't get this idea on their own. And so justice has not been served. The book on January 6th isn't fully closed until those who at the top, as was previously mentioned, are brought to justice for this.